Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Buenos dias, everyone. Welcome to Coldwell Banker Dynasty every other week sales meeting. I like to call it more of a relationship meeting. Thank you all for being here, an agency that cares and an agency with a lot of heart. I'd like to go ahead and begin by having all the affiliates introduce themselves, and we'll go from there. And who I'd like to begin with is who I see here first is John. John, you're up.
Good morning, Sylvia. Good morning, Kelvin, and good morning, everyone. And welcome to the office. It's a great office. I'm John Wax with Snap NHD Natural Hazard Disclosure Reports. Hope you had a wonderful and safe 4th of July. It was nice, and that moon last night was an unbelievable orange color. I mean, it was just amazing, and the weather held out, and it was great. Just to let you know, it's a great time to touch base with your sphere of influence, as everyone says. It's also a great time to take the Snap NHD report with you on your listing appointments. The main thing is getting that appointment, showing them that you really care about them, and showing them that you really want to represent them, and you have all the information you need to represent them properly and help them get through their transaction in the most convenient timeline. We do have the free renters report, which is important for your leases, as well as we include the FHDS card form in the report, so you don't have to search for it. I'll put my information in the chat. Let's have a wonderful July, and thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. I always learn something new when you pitch on that. Taking the NHD to a listing appointment, never thought about that one, but thank you so much for that. Next here, I like to go ahead and have Sandy come up. Sandy, you're up. Now wait, is it Sandy or is it her double?
You guys will never know. Happy Wednesday. So what we know about the rest of the summers, it's going to be hot, hot, hot. So, but that's not an excuse not to go out into your territory and farm. Okay. Take a lot of water with you. I've got the door hangers. I've got the baggies. They're all free. Go early in the morning, go, right around sunset if you can, whatever works best for you. Obviously stay hydrated, but we have the tools. You have a great group of affiliates here who just want you to succeed. So use our resources. Let us help you be successful. Your success is our success. I'll put my info into chat. If you need door hangers, if you need the baggies, I'll bring them to the office. I'll mail them to your house, whatever's more convenient for you. So stay cool, because right now it's okay. Come Friday, another high is coming in, and it's going to be hot, hot, hot. So stay cool, stay hydrated, and let's work together to make the rest of this year the best it can be.
Thank you so much. It is midway year. And for those of you that are ahead of the game and are already starting your Christmas shopping, more power to you. Okay, next here I have, let me see here. Okay, I see the top of Helen's head. Julia, Angela, Sophia, Jael. Do we not have any other affiliates here except for the two? Okay, that's a record breaker. Okay, I can see your lips moving, John, but I can't hear you. That's what I'm hearing. But hey, there you go. If any other affiliates chime in after this, then I'll go ahead and be happy to acknowledge them. I will have to bail out of here at 10:40, but Kelvin will go ahead and take it over from there. And on that note, I don't have a quote of the day because today I'm just going to be raw. And being raw, quote of the day is saying, be you, and be you in the greatest way you possibly can. No matter what the weather's like, no matter what the situation is like, no matter what life throws at you, be you and make a great you. If you're shy, be a great shy person. If you're not shy, then be the greatest extrovert person. But be you and own it with a lot of pride. With that said, I'm going to go ahead. Thank you, John. I'm going to hand this over to our broker, Kelvin Chang, which I'm so excited to have Kelvin Chang come up and introduce himself. And I think I heard some heels behind me. And who is that? Hey, okay. So before I hand it over to Kelvin, I have here in front of me, guess who? Maria Howard. Hi, everybody.
Hi, home warranty. I just dropped off some brochures. Let me know if you need anything. Always here to help. Stop by, got out of the house. As you all know, I'm nursing my husband back from a motorcycle accident. He fractured both ankles. So my life has been a little turned upside down, but he's at home, 2 surgeries, and we're looking at 8 to 10 weeks or 6 weeks on one leg and the other one a little sooner. So anyways, thank you, everybody. You have an amazing day, and I hope you all had a great 4th.
Thank you so much, Maria. I appreciate you, and thank you for coming by.
You're welcome.
And I know that you probably needed to get away from home too, so I'm glad we can be that escape cave.
It was. I said, I gotta get out of the house.
That's right. Thank you, Maria. And with that said, loving the orange, if that's orange or if it's red, Kelvin, you're up.
It's red, and I'm sorry to hear, Maria, on your motorcycle accident for your spouse, because I do ride myself, and I know it's very dangerous on the roads, especially during traffic times and whatnot. But every day is a challenge when you're driving. You're really driving at your own risk. But on a more positive note, hope speedy recovery. On a more positive note, I just wanted to really just kick off today's meeting with definitely a lot of energy. I'm refreshed. I got back from out of state, and I got to really see a big drastic difference when it comes down to freedom and independence. So I will speak towards that as today's quote. Give me a second, and I've got a lot of news to share with you. We'll do an economic update for the month of July, which is the June's report. And we'll be covering a little bit about the new marketing with Moxie, some sign up registration free classes for you guys. We'll also be talking about the new forms. June just have the June release for car forms. So I'll be happy to share with you the take on what has changed. So that way you're the most up-to-date realtor around and knowing which forms are at your disposal, because these are our liability arsenal. That's our weapon tools that we can use to prevent liability. So let's go ahead and learn it, understand it, use it in our practice. And without further ado, hopefully you guys can start seeing my screen. So I'm going to put it into full screen. All right. Does everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for our affiliates. Looks like they're still celebrating the 4th of July. But today, July 5th, yesterday we were able to celebrate Independence Day, and America's independence truly is the result of a lot of our forefathers and the brave men out there who fought for our independence, because for a small history lesson, we all did not like the taxation, the governmental control of British rule across the Atlantic Ocean. Even though these men are now dead, they're not forgotten. Their work, their bravery, their ability to really just stick up for what they believe is right in self-government and independence and our constitutional rights are all privileges that we must continue to uphold. Because as we speak and see, the next quote I wanted to talk about is, freedom is unlikely to be lost all at once and openly. It is far more likely to be eroded away slowly, bit by bit, amid glittering promises and expressions of noble ideals. And when I was traveling across to a flyover state, I noticed how freedom is much different than California than it is over there. You see much areas over there, there's less population. There's truly is freedom where people can carry their weapons. People have the ability to go and have very few laws. I looked at the purchase contract of other states. Real estate was purchased. I bought something with a 4 or 5 page purchase contract. And here in California, I see so much controls, so much regulation, so much government stepping in to tell us American citizens how, Californians, how we can live, how things are definitely being stripped away from us. I'm seeing a mansion luxury tax on the Los Angeles city. We're seeing how businesses have to be regulated and how much they pay their employees, minimum wage. We have a lot of different changes of the rules in licensing and permits just to do stuff. And then that goes in every single industry. But I'm just telling you, California is one of the few areas where we're losing our freedom. And I don't know what to say about that, but it's being eroded away. Don't expect freedom to just, go all out at once. It really is being stripped away through votes, through the politics, through the legislation that's being put forth or bundled together to get one thing forward. We have to pass this too as well. And these type of things are just something that I just want to keep in mind is let you know is freedom and independence truly is different state by state. So just that's probably why you see a lot of Californians leaving the area. It's not just simply taxation or the high cost of living. People want to be able to plant what they want to plant on their land or to build what they want to build on their property. And we can't. We have to go through permits. We have to go through regulations. We have to get someone to inspect it. We have to make sure it's built to code. We have to comply with the city laws and make sure that they come and see our property before we sell it to somebody else. So there's just stuff like that, just to let you know that is very, very different wherever you go throughout the same country. So getting on to our sales meeting, we have upcoming trainings and our sales meetings posted for your just to keep in mindful to join us and learn, because I hope to have great content from all the management over here. We just want to make sure you're up to date. So if you want to join some YPN, there's some mentoring moments here. If you want to learn from some experienced people, we have a virtual presentation on reverse mortgages as more baby boomers are entering the senior category class, and that protected class is starting to see people who want to be able to reverse mortgages, a key to dip and take into your equity so that you can have a nice lifestyle and be able to get paid every month instead of paying your lender. Here is a boost training for Coldwell Banker types of areas that you should just keep and play around with if you have some free time. So I keep the links on here just in case any of you search the slides. You want to know some ways to boost your class, boost your education and professionalism. I do always recommend Agent Boost. So there is a July training calendar. And so I wanted to share this with you. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I wanted to tell you there's different types of classes. Do you guys see July 2023 in front of you? Or I have to know?
Yes, I see it here.
Okay, perfect. So Moxie is not just one thing, and people are just questioning, oh, how do I do, where's the Coldwell Banker marketing at? How do I send email campaigns like the holiday calendar and a happy 4th of July to all my clients? People always ask me, where do I go to print a flyer? It's Moxie, but the problem is, you guys understand, is there's many areas of Moxie. There's called Moxie Engage. And this is really to tap into your sphere of influence, build a CRM drip campaign, and send a campaign just to buyers, send a campaign just to past clients, send one just for your prospects who are potentially listing in the next 6 to 12 months. So if you want to build those campaigns, that's through Moxie Engage. Engage with your clients. There's classes for not only just 101, then you upgrade to the intermediate level, 201, so you can get into understand the different things on here. So I wanted to just let you understand and see that there is such great resources that you have not taken advantage of. And then you want to go, there's other classes that you'll see, but then you want Present. Moxie Present is where you're making a presentation. There's a wizard that goes through that whenever you put a property in the MLS, you can get pre-customized flyer, video, property lists, door hangers, Instagram and Facebook specially designed things about your listings. So use Moxie Present 101 beginner, then 201, sign up for those classes. It's only 45 minutes to invest in your education. I like to tell you 45 minutes is digestible. Do one a week and you're going to be totally up to date and really, really excited and thrilled to take use of what you learned. And you get in there. This is a free included benefit for all Coldwell Banker realtors and franchisees. And I use it myself. I love the tools, especially how pretty and beautiful it looks, as opposed to the, standard CMA and Matrix, or the standard flyers that you're going to find from the CRMLS. So these are branded with our nice logos and tools. So just stick out and learn it. And then I want you to take some classes on your own personal marketing online. Because if you're not found online, you're not searchable, you're probably non-existent as a realtor. So take the introductory class on setting up your free included website. Coldwell Banker has a beautiful website for you, and it's not on or live unless you start playing with it and accept the terms and conditions. So when they transitioned to Moxie 2 or 3 months ago, we all had the prior Zap website. Those are all gone. I've already reminded you, you need to accept the terms and conditions, click yes, and then your new website for Moxie is visible. So if you're not doing it, you're not searchable. No public is going to find you. So I want to make sure you're at least the perception of who you are, what you're about, your resume, your background. I want to make sure that you're in control of what you put forth, your image, your picture, and the contact information like your phone and email. You're in control of that. And you're in control of what the public will perceive about you. Okay, so hopefully it's good stuff, and it's hopefully stuff that you wanted to put out there, because this is your business. I want to teach you to be independent. You're a real estate contractor, so take control of your business. Someone had to flag a hand up. Sylvia?
Yes, thank you so much, Calvin. Appreciate that. I also wanted to add that on this Thursday, tomorrow, we are going to have Kendra Hasty, our account manager, here in person at 2:00. And I'm extending the training with her to all of you. So any of you that would like to attend, please be here at 2:00, 2 to 3:30. It's an opportunity to be in front of the actual Coldwell Banker NRT person, staff liaison that Kelvin and I have and Mark at our fingertips for you directly. So please, I encourage you to please attend tomorrow at 2:00. Thank you, Calvin.
No problem. So just going into this share screen. I mean, this is what my Moxie website looks like. You can put your logo, your designation, realtor, sales associate, real estate consultant, whatever title you want to put on here, your phone number, your email, your websites that you have. You can add links to your social media. You can write a blurb about your background and where for example, I write about my education because that's important to me. And it's some of the things that I've involved myself and volunteered with. But I really just want to make sure and the public knows that I'm a principled understanding of all the areas of real estate and how long I've been involved and my past volunteer experience. And also my specialties. So you can make your own style. Maybe you don't have a background like myself. You don't. Put yours. Put what your value proposition is. Put the things that are important to you or where your what you learned. It has your sales, your listings, your designations, your languages, and obviously and a link to the stuff, this and that. Not only do you have this kind of about me, but I want to remind you that you will also have a searchable area for your clients to sign in, to search properties, and it's just an area where you can make sure that they can look at your controlled site, your app that they can download, and they're not searching on other competitor sites and potentially losing that client. So it's really cool. I love for you guys to use it and really just get out there and understand that there's so much different stuff to really just make sure you're on top of your full game. I'm going to put a link in the Zoom right now for the classes if you were interested in taking and signing up. So give me a second and get to the. Okay, so the chat box has the learning classes sign up sheet. So if you wanted to sign up and register, you could take that link and get in. Or you can just download the slides or just open the slides and you'll be able to go to Marketing Center July registration. That's for July's. Every month I'll have a new set of classes, and I've been slow to send them out to you. So I'll go ahead and send out this as well by email. Sylvia, do you have any management updates for this slide?
Not for this slide, just what I shared earlier, the education. I'm continuing to do the warm calling, the cold calling, the farming. Sandy said it, you know, it is hot, it is warm, it is whatever it is, but you know, the opportunity is still there. So if you knock at the door, knock at the door. I know every time I drive up to the office, if I see a new sign just down the street from our office, I'm thinking, wow, you know, we all missed out on that opportunity. So don't miss out on an opportunity. Just make it your best to go out. And along that line, BPT, for those of you that still don't know what BPT stands for, bringing people together, every Wednesday at Caravan, have the opportunity not just to know what inventory is out there, but also to social network with affiliates and other realtors that you may be engaged in a possibility of presenting an offer. You may be the listing agent or you may be the buyer's agent. Whichever it is, take advantage of that opportunity to go out and present yourself and not be a secret person. If you don't have a social presence or you're not searchable, at least be noticeable with others in the same room. Reach out to me. I can help you make that happen. Thank you.
One of the best networkers and socially butterflies that I've known in my entire career. Sylvia definitely knows her thing about just really just having casual conversation, getting to know someone, and then doing the hard ask, which is, hey, do you know anyone, or can I sell you, or can I help you with something in real estate? Definitely very tasteful in how you do things. Happy birthday to all our July babies. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there born in this special month. And really just hope you enjoyed the time and celebrate. And as we celebrated our American birthday, the Moxie Meganar session was last month, but there was a recording on that. So I'll share that link later with the email. They just put out a new Legal Live webinar on the CAR website. So if you click on this link, this is actually the recording of that last class. And we have Neil Kalian teaching us the brand new and revised forms. So for those of you who are not aware, let me go ahead and get into something that I wanted to share with you real quick. Okay, I got to sign into my CAR, so give me a second because only members can access the live updates. Okay, so now I can get into the slides. Let's share that screen. So if you just type in June 2023 forms release under the search bar up here, it'll take you to this area. And I'm just going to go over the summary guide because if you can see, there's quite a bit of new form acronyms that are in front of you. These are the ones that have been revised These are the brand new forms that you've never seen before. So what are they? How do we use them? Let's cover that in a second. And so here is a couple of what's called the changes to our disclosures and CAR forms. So we have changes to the ABA, broker acknowledgement. We have a already built subdivision purchase agreement. This is a brand new contract. When you have smaller subdivisions that are 1 to 4 units, 1 to 4 home single families, you would use this purchase contract, not the RPA. Okay. There is an assignment of agreement addendum. Many people are buying their property and doing 100% assignment from buyer Kelvin Chang and assigning it to my LLC, which could be ABCDEFG LLC. So if you're doing something like this, you're going to use AOAA. You're also going to use AOAA when you have a buyer, Kelvin Chang, wanting to add my spouse and I want to add my child into my purchase contract. Maybe that was there's a purpose, or they were out of town earlier, they weren't able to sign, or maybe it's because of financing and the lender says I need another co-borrower. So you add a family member, you're going to go ahead and use AOAA to assign the agreement and get the other party's consent. Now, there's another one here. This is replacing the pet addendum. We have animal terms and conditions addendum because there's more than just pets. Some people don't think of their dog or cat as a pet. Some of them think of them as a support animal. Some of them think it's emotional support. Some of them have a fish. Those are animals. And so now maybe a fish potentially could be something that creates support for someone, and they can maybe get certification that this is a support medical need and can go ahead and accompany them while they're going to Walmart. Bed bug disclosure has changed it to landlord instead of, it changes to housing provider. They don't like to call the word landlord no more. So I think this is more of a political correctness, changing it to the housing provider to be the new name for who is the signer. In the buyer counteroffer has an example of 1C explaining how an appraisal gap is affected by a change in price in a counteroffer. So what does that mean? Well, sometimes, let's say you have a FHA loan and the buyer is getting $500,000 purchase, but the property only appraises for $400,000. The lender can only give based 80-20 or 96.5% for FHA financing to these borrowers, FHA, when of the appraised value. So they would only get 96.5 of $400,000 financing. And sometimes these buyers can't proceed, they'll have to cancel, or they can renegotiate the original offer. And price will have to change for this buyer if they want to get the financing, subject to the seller's acceptance of the price change. Most sellers don't like to change the price lower, so it's going to be hard to get that negotiated through. But if it's a small gap, maybe you can. Okay. So litigation definitely can be happening to any HOA at any different time. Someone could trip and fall on the premises, or fall into the pool and drown, or maybe a poor balcony or something, a stairway, and they fall down. Could happen. Accidents and injuries happen anywhere. And in an HOA setting, there is a paragraph 10 now added that this can affect your loan. If there's new litigation existing, the president of the HOA or whoever's filling out the forms must respond truthfully if there's ongoing litigation. And a lender could technically say, hey, that's scary, that's a big liability. Maybe they're going to deny the financing, even though the person is very well qualified with 800 FICO scores, perfect income. Does not necessarily mean a lender has to give you the extra 80% financing. Okay, that's why you do your financing early. Now, the business listing agreement is discontinued. They don't want us to do business sales. Technically, it's a very risky area. A lot of you have not been trained. Fortunate thing is I'm experienced in this. So I still have a copy of the old business listing agreement and I know how to teach it. But in any case, this is discontinued. And you have the buyer representation broker compensation agreement. If you were in attendance with us with our last training with Art Carter, CEO of our SCRMLS, he tells us to understand this form very well because we very well may have to use it in the near future as NAR, Realogy, Anywhere Real Estate, all of the big major firms, including all the top 5 real estate companies. I'm not going to name them. We're in litigation. They're being sued for anti-class litigation regarding being a monopoly, and therefore commissions is discussed as a point in which buyers and sellers are not really technically able to negotiate the compensation of a transaction. Therefore, they're adding this form that potentially we as realtors, especially if you're a buyer's agent, might need to be able to understand, teach, explain, justify, and negotiate your own buyer's commission rate with your own buyer. There's a potentially a chance that sellers no longer have to add the buyer's commission into the sales purchase contract. There's people out there who want to take that out of the purchase sales agreement. We don't know where it's going, but in any case, when you want to represent a buyer who potentially maybe not that close to you, you don't trust them. Thirdly, it's a stranger, so you want to have what's called a buyer. We all know this as a buyer broker agreement. This is that form. Okay. If someone's canceling or this is a proposal of a cancellation, this is using form CC, cancellation of contract. Cash for keys. There's a form out there for tenants who are holding a property hostage, not agreeing to move out unless they got some sort of consideration. You can use this form right here to help to help housing providers manage their properties and hopefully negotiate the housing provider. You don't step in and be the negotiator because you didn't put that tenant in place. You don't know them and you don't have history with them. So your advice is, well, if you want, you can use this form to help you negotiate some sort of agreement, mutual, to get out by a certain piece of time. Okay. Now there's a ton of forms. There's 14 pages of these forms, guys. So I can't definitely talk about every single one. But I'm just letting you know the people, the representatives, the directors who are really representing our state are actively every 6 months changing the contracts, okay, to improve them. It's not necessarily to make our lives worse, but it's to improve them. They did split out the CR, contingency removal. This one is called the buyer's contingency removal, where they have 3 active contingencies during their purchase: appraisal, home inspection, due diligence, and the loan financing contingency. So they would use this form CRB to remove those contingencies. And the sellers, for those of you who don't, what are the reasons for a seller to back out? Not much. Only if the buyer fails to bring in the deposit or fails to meet the timelines. But you can add contingencies for a seller, such as the potential to purchase a replacement property, like a 1031 exchange. You can add a seller's contingency, like moving out into another property or subject to the purchase of a replacement property. Sometimes you can add contingency subject to, you can add any contingency technically if your language is proper. So protect your sellers, but don't overprotect too. Sometimes there's situations where you may cause the transaction to be delayed unnecessarily. So that's why I kind of just make sure you're doing things in the course of what is the proper steps. That's why you talk to your management, get a second opinion. Your situation is like this, your situation is like that. There could be a different solution for very similar scenarios. Okay. Use this form, denial of rental application, because the housing provider should be reviewing every applicant Regardless of who they are or whether they submitted it early or late, whatever it is, make sure every application is being reviewed consistently with the same process. And it's nice to give them, the housing provider to give them notice, because I hear so many situations where housing providers don't even have the respect, courtesy to respond back that their application has been denied. And so these potential applicants are just waiting and waiting weeks and weeks and weeks, hoping to get accepted, but no one ever reaches out back to them. So do the courtesy. They took the courtesy to submit an application. The housing provider should have the courtesy to respond back. Now, certain sellers are exempted from certain disclosures or duties in the TDS. And so this is when this comes to place. Those are just specific scenarios, but most sellers do have to disclose the history that they know. And does anyone have any questions on any of these forms? Because I'm not going to go through all 14 pages of them. But sometimes they're just one small word. So don't be overwhelmed. The notice of entry to access a premises within 24-hour notice, they only changed the one word, housing provider to landlord. That's why you see so many pages. So if there's just one word changes, these are not going to make your business very complicated. Just read it. Understand that a lot of these are just simply updating new legislation or new laws. So just giving you an idea that where the changes were made, this is a comprehensive list. Any questions? All right, so those are the 14 pages of changes to our disclosures and purchase contracts. Obviously, I'll do a more direct class or answer your questions when you bring your questions forward at Tuesday's Kelvin's Keys to Success. I'll be happy to go in detail on any of these forms with you. So that way you bring me the questions and you'll get the answers on Tuesdays. And let's get back into our slides. Push the wrong button. Okay, so here's the slides. And we should see the Legal Live webinar slide back again, hopefully. When you click this video here, Neil Kalin, this person is going, he'll spend an hour teaching you all of these revisions himself. So if you don't want to wait for me on Tuesdays, go ahead and watch the attorney who's greater at speaking towards these, because he created and reviewed and stamped his approval on these disclosures. His 1 hour class will cover all these forms that are changed. All right. Next slide. This is more of the market update. So this is just written 2 days ago on Monday. The US economy survived the first half of 2023 without an official recession as per the Fed's definition. So consumers are more resilient than the economists expected, and consumers are spending enough. Despite this high inflation rates we've suffered and endured since May of 2022, we've endured the banking crisis with 3 major banks going bankrupt and being sold. And we had a debt ceiling raised recently in order for our legislators to go ahead and agree to keep legislating, because if not, then there'd be a budget deficit that they can't really work. So we avoided all that crisis. The consumers are relatively positive. We have recovered, and I'm going to show you the slides that show the proof in the pudding. So even though the rates financing is elevated, we're still above 6.5% for a 30-year mortgage. But we are seeing some more home building activity, nationally speaking. And in California wise, we still have tight inventory, which is really supporting and keeping our prices relatively stabilized. All right. So the market minute data, I'm going to get into that right now. So if you want to check out the latest update, here are the slides. I think there's 29 slides, pages of slides. I just talk about the most important ones. Now, hopefully you guys can see this PowerPoint called California Economic and Market Update. Someone says yes or no.
See it.
All right. Thank you, John. So we are at the relatively slowest pace of inflation since 2021 of 2 years ago. So you can see here our change in core CPI and our percent change in CPI is one of the lowest we've seen since this big peak of inflation that we've all been just constantly hearing in the news. So that's a good thing. We're finally getting it relatively in check and in hold, although the Fed would like to see that in the 2%, maybe 3% inflation rate. So we're still not all the way there yet. When it comes to the labor markets, we are having a more balance, but it's slightly improving so you see the trend here. The labor market is less than the huge unemployment of 6,054. So there shows some sign of improvements of more people going into labor and getting their jobs back since the pandemic. And the proof is also showing through our unemployment claims number. So we've had one of the lower unemployment claims months that we've had in the whole year. So that's nice that there's less government money going towards unemployment, people with their hands out. And there is slightly showing in terms of what's coming in the coming weeks. The federal funds target is 5.25, which is up here in the terms of the daily rates. And the Treasury 10-year is still below that mark. We're seeing some expectations of what's going to happen, whether or not it's going to pause, increase or decrease the federal funds rates and whatnot. So we have no idea what the Fed's going to do, but the signals are there. And the yield curve has been inverted for almost a year straight. What's this yield curve? This is almost this yield curve in green. So you can kind of see here should really decline from a 10-year yield curve this bad. And typically speaking, these boxed areas do kind of demonstrate what we experienced in the 2008 and 9 recession, the 2001 recession, and the 1990-91 recession. Look how small we had a small recession just during March, April, May, the first year here in the pandemic when all the jobs except for essential workers were able to work. And non-essential people, everyone was kind of just at home, quarantining. So what we see here in the next 10 years, there's a lot of commercial mortgages that are going to mature. And because most of the commercial mortgages are fixed at a prior lower rate, we might have a commercial exodus of a supply. Because these are large loans when it's commercial. And when they have to refinance or really try to find new financing resources, it's not going to be nice for these commercial companies and big businesses when the rates are 6.5% plus. So with that, in the near future, there may be a negative impact to commercial valuations. We see a lot more remote work exacerbating the affordability issues. So in California, we see minus 406,000 Californians leaving the country, leaving California this past year in 2022. That's a lot. That's almost 500,000 Californians leaving. That's also probably another 500,000 of real estate sold. How many of those homes have you sold? I've sold a few, but take your fair share of your market, I'm telling you. So as people are leaving, they got to sell their area where they're living usually, and they are moving towards inexpensive areas. So who is moving? Los Angeles, Orange County, San Diego people, Contra Costa, San Mateo, and San Francisco. Those are the biggest top 6 counties that have the net highest exodus migration out. A lot of people are moving to this small farm town in Merced called Yolo. Okay, so those are the 2 people that are gaining population because they're probably a lot more affordable. And the 2022 California domestic migration, this is a chart. LA has a lot of people getting out of here. So that's the pie chart for visualization purposes. And San Francisco is vacating. A lot of office spaces are having high 26% vacancy rate. That's quite a bit of vacancy for these big downtown high rises. Sorry, guys, I got disconnected. Do you guys hear me okay now? My apologies. I'll get back into the PowerPoint. And just continuing on, we have leasing rates increasing. So you see offices and all the commercial landlords are trying to ask for a higher lease pay rates, but we're noticing it's not flying with the companies. So this is from CVR research of 2023 Q1, and the direct. Sorry, guys. Hope you guys can hear me again. So the vacancy rates are there. Let's continue on to the next slide. And the key Fed target, we talked about that, but this is where our 30-year fixed mortgage is now at 6.71% for a 30-year. And that's still relatively the same as it was for the past year. It's been floating around in that 6.5% to 7% range. So that's not changing, but just 2.65. This was probably one of the lowest we've had ever, January 2021, in terms of mortgage rates. Demand is becoming less of a concern despite these high rates. In 2023, this is slight decline in demand, picked back up. So people are now getting used to high interest rates or whatnot. So sorry, guys, it's unstable right now. So the sales are back to its relatively stable numbers. And so when you see here, September of 2022, we've had quite a bit of uptick since a very slow winter period of time. So you see sales just taking a nosedive, and now we're finally ticking back up. But we're nowhere near any of our normal levels of the 2011, 2012, 13, 16, 17, 19. We're normally up in this range of $400,000 to $500,000 units sold. This is volume of sales. And we're like 2/3 of the way there. So there still is a pent-up demand of sales that needs to happen. Okay. So pending sales, as you can see here, slight uptick from the beginning of the year, but we're still nowhere near our healthy levels of before the pandemic. So, it's how you spin it. 13% increase in sales since last May, but compared year over year or 5 year over 5 year, not anywhere close. But home prices itself are coming up. You say real estate always goes up, and I'll tell you that trend seems to be true. The prices are constantly going up, except for this high period before the last recession. So with home sales constantly going up and inflation constantly going up, it just does make sense. When you speak at a large number with a high number of inflation going on, of course the price will have to be adjusted upwards. which also means that the taxation and the amount you have to pay back to the government of property tax and financing rates and this and that also has to be adjusted higher. So price per square foot is now in California, $433 per square foot. That's what's the closing at. Okay. In terms of new inventory, we had the lowest supply of inventory last December and January, and now we're around 4,400 new listings per month. Active listings, slight uptick. Okay. So you always want to sell when there's a short supply of listings, and that's why you can see 2022 of this year was probably the peak amount of shortage, and that's probably where buyers were getting crazy multiple offers above asking price, removing all the contingencies, really competing to get a home. And so now you can see that that trend is kind of just normalizing right now, and it's taking a quick 15 days median in order for a property to close. Days on market. So that's very, very refreshing. We get a listing, it should sell and have multiple offers in the first 2 weeks. If you didn't get all multiple offers, you priced it wrong. And if you want to talk about pricing, 29% of the listings out there have to reduce their price in 2023. Okay, but almost about 1/3. How many are closing above the asking price? 52%. That's telling me people are writing multiple offers and going above asking and willing to go above asking, even with high financing rates. That is so proof that you should just price your property slightly below market, get the offer activity, find the buyer's best overall terms and conditions, and you'll get a successful sale. So in terms of single family housing, we're seeing that they're forecasting just as the percent change, an 18% decline in volume activity throughout the rest of the year. Our median sale price is anticipated to be lower forecast than it was last year. And so that's a decline of 5.6% is forecasted. And our interest rates now at a market of 6.3 at the end of the year. That's what they forecast. All right. So next year should have a very strong volume year. So get ready. Build your moxie and all of your understanding and fundamentals so you can get ready for a good next year, as we'll have an uptick of the anticipated roughly almost 18-19% uptick in sales volume. And that's the end of the slides. Any questions on that? So that's an economist's interpretation of the slides. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one while I covered that material. And I want to get back into our other sales meeting and talked about our new inventory. Fire insurance is also a reminder. Order your home insurance policies early for your buyers out there, because there could be a lot of denials coming on from the major carriers like State Farm and Allstate leaving California, not issuing new policies. And so getting into, let's just go all the way into the, it's 11 o'clock. So let's get into our new listings. And just leased out, congrats to Steve Hank. He leased out this 1182 square foot Pasadena townhouse for $3,000 per month. Happy for Michael Dang. Just got a new listing over here in 5758 Roland Avenue, Temple City. This beautiful 3-bed, 3-bath, 2461 duplex is being sold for $1.32 million. Not bad for a duplex in a great school district. That's one of the most desirable in around. And 1420 Random Lane, Duarte. Jerry Baker and Connie are tag teaming this nice single family, asking $949,000. Photos are not ready because this is just in coming soon status. So when you go into your MLS, you won't find it yet, but I want to let sure you Dynasty agents have firsthand news of this single family, 5 beds, 3 baths, huge property. So take a look and talk to Jerry and Connie if you have any questions about their new listing or have any clients. And we got some nice closers here. Henry Liu sold this $1.75 million property in Arcadia. It's 57 California Street, next to the intersection of First Avenue and Arcadia. It's mostly used for storage and nice little property, parcel 1 and parcel 2. Henry also got this one closed. This is a commercial site. This is a development potential offering at $8.5 million for 2+ acres of residential land. It doesn't look very residential. I wouldn't want to live here next to all these industrial buildings, but regardless of which, it's $8.5 million of land, and he got this one really sold. This is probably a typo right here. It's light industrial. Henry Liu closed on escrow on this Moore, Oklahoma property, sold at $262,950. So this is a nice little property over here that he was able to get a referral on. Don't forget, guys, we talked about many Californians leaving. Don't forget, this is an opportunity for you to say, hey, Californian, I understand you're going to an out-of-state area like Nevada, maybe it's Texas or Oklahoma in Henry's example. You can call up an Oklahoma or Texan agent, hand them a referral, collect a 25% referral fee or whatever you want to negotiate out. Maybe if you want 50%, and if there's an agent that says, sure, they can take your client, show them the homes, transact, and you collect at closing, just like Henry does. So be smart. Don't lose your opportunities to gain income from passively referring them to another realtor. Tani just closed this Altadena property, 2461, for $745,000. Wonderful job for Tani did to advertise this fixer-upper, and it was closed with also one of our Dynasty agents at Temple City. I'm happy to see Arcadia and Temple City working together collaboratively, successfully, and quickly. This is like a 14-day sale, and they got it done very quickly. Jean got closed on this Corona newer construction, 3,000+ square foot structure for $760,000. Gorgeous, beautiful home. She just sold it. And also Drew Clarity, very proud of her to close $628,000 Lake Elsinore property. Great area, beautiful home. She did a great job for her client in getting above what the seller was hoping for. And Sylvia closed $1.5 million single family in Eagle Rock, 501 Marie Avenue. Nice little structure, big structure over here with good, gorgeous Eagle Rock views. And Manny Aquino closed on this single family, 1227 Robindale Street, West Covina, 4-bed house. And congrats to Min Win. He closed 5451 Lewis Avenue in Long Beach. This is a townhouse with 1,472 square feet. I think he leased this one out. I'm sorry, it's a lease. This is a closing, 504 Huntington Drive, Unit 14 in Arcadia. Closed for $769,000 condominium, almost 1,400 square feet. She also closed this Monterey Park condominium, and this is 1,272 square feet on 118 Casuta Canyon Drive, Unit C. Any else to pitch? Well, I do have one listing that's not on here. It is in the CoStar. I have a commercial office retail for lease. So if you want to take a look right across the street, I do have a retail space. Maybe could be used for an office as well. So if you want to take a look, it's 9413 Las Tunas Drive. Kat and I are working this one together. And this is office space. And you see that Cool Cuts right here. It's this building right down here. It does have roughly 1,700 square feet of office space. It's available for retail / office use. There's additional parking in the back. And I think we're asking roughly $2 a square foot, 3,500 per month. Okay, talk to Kat if you have any questions or whatnot. 32.50 per month, I'm sorry. Okay, so here's the photos and Prime Street storefront retail space. And you can see our companies right there, just walking distance. Okay, here's the interior, not too bad. Nice little laminate flooring, shelving, storefront counter, and whatnot. Let me know if you have any questions. Anybody else want to pitch anything? Okay, well, that's the end of today's sales meeting. I thank you for being and sticking around to the very end. And if you have any guidance or needs, be happy to reach out or call me, text me, email me, whatever you need. I'm here. So thank you all.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.